The entire world is under the spell of the Antichrist. We are witnessing a grand delusion carried out on a mass scale. Satan, the father of lies, has managed to convince the world of this global pandemic, and through the propagation of a false narrative, he has caused the world to become paralyzed and frozen by fear. Now, I'm not saying that coronavirus does not exist. However, I am saying that the lethality and communicability of this virus has been greatly exaggerated in order to scare you into submission. The numbers concerning the spread and the proportion of deaths in the population as it relates to coronavirus infections are being falsely inflated. Deaths of people from influenza and pneumonia are now being attributed to COVID-19 without any proof that these deaths were even remotely related to the virus. Listen to this doctor describe his experience with what I've just explained.
I think is critically important. Can you repeat what you just said, please?
Well, last Friday, I received a 7-page document that sort of told me that if I had an 86-year-old patient that had pneumonia but was never tested for COVID-19, but sometime after she came down with pneumonia, we learned that she had been exposed to her son, who had no symptoms, but later on was identified with COVID-19, that it would be appropriate to diagnose on the death certificate COVID-19. Now, we've not done that. If someone has the pneumonia and it's in the middle of a flu epidemic, and I don't have a test on influenza, I don't diagnose influenza on the death certificate. I will say this elderly patient died of pneumonia.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but my heart is sinking right now as you're telling me this. You're a doctor. Why in the world would they be sending you out information to fill out death certificates, whether the person's been diagnosed with COVID-19 or not, but then to say in the death certificate this person's death was caused by COVID-19? That does not sound right to me.
I went to the person in our office who does most of the death certificates over the last 10, 20 years, and I said, does this sound right? I had her look at the documents that I printed off, and she said, well, we've always been told that you always put down just facts. You don't put down any probabilities. You don't put any presumptions down. It's just what you know. And so this is concerning. And it actually gets to your point, Chris. When we start talking about the data that goes into the modeling, we have to ask ourselves a question. Are we being forthright? Are we sharing with the public? Minnesota, North Dakota, we don't need to be having it sugar-coated. We want to know what's going into your modeling.
So with that being said, why would they want to skew the number of deaths due to COVID-19?
Well, fear is a great way to control people, and I worry about that. I worry that sometimes we're so darn interested in just jazzing up the fear factor.
Fear is an essential human emotion. It is part of your survival instinct that acts as a defense mechanism. However, when this emotion is purposefully overstimulated by the inundation of manufactured dangers or the unrealistic possibility of some hazard or unpleasant situation causing one injury or death, fear can be effectively used to manipulate. The biological response associated with fear causes cortisol and adrenaline levels to increase. Cortisol has many functions in the human body, such as controlling stress response, blood glucose levels, and blood pressure. Fear and the increase in cortisol levels increases stress and affects decision making because fear will not allow you to think clearly. High levels of cortisol can also lead to high blood pressure, anxiety, and depression. High levels of adrenaline will cause rapid heartbeat and breathing, heightened senses, and a nervous or jittery feeling. Clearly, because of the overwhelmingly negative responses of the human body to fear, it is ideally suited as a means to be used for the purpose of manipulation. For this reason, fear is a fundamental or essential part of the elite's in-game strategy. In one of my previous videos titled Endgame, The End of the Old World Order and the Beginning of the New, we discussed the fact that Tom Hanks' wife, Rita Wilson, uploaded a video of herself reading a book, Ender's Game, while being quarantined for coronavirus. She then decided that it was a good idea to rap a song performed by Naughty by Nature in its entirety. This was a very impressive feat, especially when we take into consideration that her and her husband were supposedly suffering from coronavirus, a respiratory disease that causes shortness of breath.
This will put a human face on it, okay? Tom Hanks just tweeted. He and his wife, Rita, are in Australia, okay? They don't feel great. They got tested. They have coronavirus.
As we discussed previously, the purpose of this absurd and deceptive impromptu performance by Rita Wilson was to deliver a message to the masses. That message was to inform the public that the beginning of the end had been put into motion. Remember, the definition of endgame is the very last part of a strategic game like chess. Hold that thought, because we'll come back to it in a moment. The group Naughty by Nature also has another hit song called OPP. The song OPP, of course, has vulgar connotations. However, euphemistically, it means other people's property. There are several words that can be used to describe the act of taking another person's property, like to seize, commandeer, expropriate, or lay claim to. However, there's one specific word that fits this particular instance best, and that word is to usurp, which means to seize and hold by force or without right, to usurp a throne, or to usurp power. The truth is, through this video, Rita Wilson was telling the world that the end game of the elites had begun with the institution of the worldwide pandemic, the coronavirus, which marked the beginning of the end, and will eventually lead to the crowning of the usurper, the one who takes the place of Christ, the Antichrist. Fast forward to April 14th, and the New York Times runs a story along with a video called Accelerate the Endgame, Obama's role in wrapping up the primary.
Hi everybody. Let me start by saying the obvious. These aren't normal times. As we all manage our way through a pandemic unlike anything we've seen in a century, Michelle and I hope that you and your families are safe and well.
This marks the reemergence of Barack Obama onto the world stage during Passover. It should be noted that on Easter Sunday, Obama took to Twitter to wish Americans a blessed and joyful holiday, as many in the country remained in quarantine during the coronavirus pandemic. Obama's tweet went on to say, "For me, Easter is a time of hope, a reminder of rebirth and renewal, and a belief in a better day to come." Notice, Obama mentioned rebirth, renewal, and the dawning of a new day in the context of Easter. We know that Obama's logo is a picture of the rising sun. The designer of the logo, Soul Sender, said this in reference to the development of the logo.
This means sun rising over the horizon, the dawning of a new day in American politics.
Interestingly enough, the designer's name, Soul, means sun, and Sender means a person who sends or transmits a message. In other words, Soul Sender means a messenger for the sun god. The picture of the rising sun in Obama's logo, then, is a representation of the pagan celebration of Easter Sunday, which is closely connected with sunrise services that depict the rebirth of the rising sun and not the risen Messiah. Remember the meaning of Nipsey Hussle's name?
They say God will rise.
The pagan holiday of Easter is held on the first Sunday after the first full moon, occurring on or after the vernal equinox. This pagan celebration represents a time when all of nature is awakened from the slumber of winter and the cycle of renewal begins. Pagans celebrated this time of rebirth by invoking Eostre or Ostara, the goddess of spring, the dawn, and fertility. This is why Obama spoke about renewal, rebirth, and the dawn of a new day. He is speaking about the dawning of a new age and the new world order. The song, The Age of Aquarius, Let the Sun Shine In, is a reference to this dawning. As fate would have it, this song is listed at number 66 on Billboard's Greatest Songs of All Time. Previously, we discussed how the worshippers of the devil believe that Baal rules over 66 legions of demons in hell. And recently, we have been discussing the use of the number 26 or 66 as it relates to satanic rituals. Remember, Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba, died in a helicopter on January 26th or 26.
Bud, I'd like to introduce my friend, the Black Mamba. Black Mamba? This is Bud.
The Molson Coors shooting occurred on February 26th or 26, and the U.S. became the worldwide leader in confirmed coronavirus cases on March 26th. Again, 26 or 66. It should be noted that just before Obama made his endorsement of Biden, Doug Landry, who formerly worked for Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign, tweeted a picture of Obama depicted as Superman with the caption, "It's time, release the super surrogate." Now, if you don't believe that these Satan worshippers use numerology as an integral part of their satanic rituals, I want you to take a look at the time and date stamp on this tweet. The time is 12:14 p.m. and the date is April 8th. 1214 gives us the number 44, a reference to Obama, since 1 + 2 + 1 = 4. Combined with the remaining 4, we get the number 44. The date, April 8th, gives us 48, which, when reversed, gives us the number 84. When we put these two numbers together, we get the Antichrist code 4484. There's much more that can be gleaned from this post as well. The word super means the highest, which is a reference to the Most High. The word surrogate means a substitute, one who takes the place of another. Therefore, super surrogate means one who takes the place of the Most High. Strong's Concordance tells us that anti means in place of, instead of, or a substitution for. It is clear then that the super surrogate is a reference to the Antichrist, and he is being identified as 4484 Barack Obama. Superman has been associated with a false god.
We, as a population on this planet, have been looking for a savior. 90% of people believe in a higher power, and every religion believes in some sort of messianic figure. And when this savior character actually comes to earth, we want to make him abide by our rules. We have to understand that this is a paradigm shift. We have to start thinking beyond politics.
We also know that Obama has conflated himself with Superman and the Messiah in the past as well.
answers. Who is Barack Obama? Contrary to the rumors that you've heard, I was not born in a manger. I was actually born on Krypton and sent here by my father, Jor-El, to save the planet Earth.
Therefore, the tweet calling for the time to release the super surrogate is a reference to Revelation chapter 9, verse 11, the release of the king of the bottomless pit. Lucifer, the light bearer, the sun god, the rising sun are all references to this very same passage in scripture. The coronavirus is the medium by which this new world order will be codified and instituted across the globe. Remember, corona means crown and is a reference to the king of the bottomless pit. And the word virus means venom, which connects to the movie. Remember the scene where Venom's girlfriend tells him morning sunshine, which is a reference to the dawn.
Morning sunshine, morning sunshine, morning sunshine.
Notice Venom is wearing a t-shirt with the sun on it. You may also remember that Eminem performed the song Venom from atop the Empire State Building. Do you think it a coincidence that New York has the highest confirmed cases and highest death rates for coronavirus in the US? The name Eminem means enemy and is a reference to Satan. New York's Empire State is a reference to the New World Order and the complete, unchecked control and absolute dictatorial power that the Antichrist will exercise over the entire world. In the song Venom, Eminem raps, "They ain't gonna know what hit 'em when they get bit with the venom." As we have discovered, the name coronavirus means for the crown or head to be poisoned by the venom of the serpent, which means that the celebrities, musicians, professional athletes, actors, and politicians who have come out claiming that they have the coronavirus are actually telling you that their minds have been poisoned, corrupted, and defiled by the venom of the serpent or the devil, who is Satan. This is the same venom that Bill Gates would like to inject you with, but it is disguised in the form of coronavirus testing, the subsequent mandatory vaccines that will be rolled out, and the tracking systems that will accompany them. It is important to note that the delivery system for implanting RFID chips and the chips themselves are closely related to the fangs and venom of a snake. Notice the tip of the needle resembles the fangs of the serpent, which delivers venom to its victims. Revelation chapter 13 verse 16 through 18 declares, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. The ultimate goal or end game is to get the public to acquiesce to these new regulations that are sure to be put in place because of the unwarranted fear that has been propagated by the media. They will have you to surrender your DNA through testing, which will allow for the biometric identification of everyone placed into their DNA database so that you can be effectively traced and monitored. This will all be done under the guise of public health concerns. coerce you to submit to mandatory vaccinations under extreme pressure, force, and duress, and all who refuse will be subject to exclusion from participating in society and restricted from buying, selling, working, or traveling. Ultimately, refusal to submit will lead to forced quarantines, indefinite imprisonment, and eventually execution by beheading. This is the dawning of the new day. This is the New World Order. It is important to note that Obamacare medical codes confirmed that execution by beheading is to be implemented in America. It should also be noted that one of the first versions of the Obamacare law, H.R. 3200, included a provision for data collection from Class II devices like implantable RFID chips. Now that the world is facing this manufactured crisis known as the coronavirus pandemic, and according to the World Health Organization, there's a need for mass testing, mass vaccinations, and a method for tracking every individual affected by this virus. It doesn't take any great stretch of the imagination to understand how a provision which requires implantable RFID chips could now be reintroduced as a mandatory requirement. If you have not surrendered your life to the one true God, Yahweh, by accepting the blood sacrifice of the Paschal Lamb, Yehoshua HaMashiach, as a propitiation for the remission of sins, the time to do so is now. The truth is, the people behind this entire manufactured crisis are nothing more than evil, maniacal, and demonically possessed psychopaths who use manipulation to prey on the weak, and, like a rapist, they violently and forcefully impose their will upon the victims they abuse. The world as we know it has reached its end, and although many people are continually used as pawns of the devil, like chess pieces, this is definitely not a game. Choose your next move wisely. Amen. Shalom.